Photosynthesis, but second Andrew.
Hey, Zach.
Hey,
I have a question.
about what?
What is photosynthesis?
Glad you asked. Now, Andrew, imagine a lipid bilayer. You're going to have a photosystem 2 next to the ETC, which has 2 electrons in the photosystem 2.
Okay, I'm starting to see it.
Then on the other side of the ETC is photosystem 1. The photosystem 1 in the middle is really photosystem 1.
Why? Shouldn't it be the other way around?
No, science is weird like that. Now, next to the photosystem 1 is ETCC, which is right next to the ATP synthase. Right above that is an ADP, and right above the ETCC is an NADP+, and finally there are 5 hydrogen ions, which are in the stroma, and the other side is the thylakoid, which has a water drop. That is the whole setup.
Okay, I'm starting to catch on.
Now there is going to be sunlight, which is going to strike the photosystems, and this excites the electrons, causing them to move around.
Oh.
Now when these electrons are excited and start to move, they start moving into the ETC and the ETCC. Now you see that the hydrogen ions are starting to flow towards the ETC. Now when the electrons aren't there, it's like opening a gate up, so they're going to start flowing through into the thylakoid. Now as you see, when the electrons move, the electrons in the ETC move into the photosystem 1.
So what happens to the other electrons? There's no photosystem for them to go into.
Now I'll start explaining this really soon. Now we'll observe the water droplet, which is now broken apart and broken into oxygen, 2 hydrogen ions, and 2 electrons. The electrons move into the photosystem 2, replacing the old ones that were there. Now as the electrons in the ETCC start moving up, there's a phosphate which gets slammed onto the ADP, creating ATP. The electrons leave the ETCC and go to NADP+, which turns to NADPH. Finally, one of the last steps, the hydrogen ions start going towards the ATP synthase. Now when the hydrogen ions move through the ATP synthase, it slams the phosphate onto the ATP, creating ATP. Set up to go all through the cycle again.
Thank you, Zach.
You're welcome.
Science made easy with Andrew and Zach.
Da, 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 da.